everyone, welcome back to Let's Code to be a Java Programmer. Today is day 29 of our coding journey. In today's session, we'll dive into the concepts of mutable and immutable strings in Java. Understanding this difference is crucial for efficient string handling in your programs. Let's get started. Okay, so today we are going to have a look at the difference between the mutable and immutable strings, okay? Okay, so for now sake, let me come in this section. Okay, so first let me create a string variable. Let this name be as Naveen, okay? Now, how does this Naveen get stored in the memory? So as I said earlier, there is something called as, okay. So as I said earlier, there is something called as stack memory and heap memory, right? So here is the stack memory and heap memory will be like something of like this, randomly. Okay. So now how does this string variable called Naveen get stored? It will be like this. And since name, so this name is nothing but it's an object, right? It's a reference variable. So it gets stored here in the stack. It gets stored here in the stack. And there also might be, since Naveen is from the class string, it gets saved here in the heap memory, and along with this Naveen there will also be an address mentioned with it. So of course it will be like this. So Naveen gets stored here, and along with Naveen there will be some kind of address at the side, like something 105, let's say. So it might be a very large integer number. For just for understanding, now I'm stating it as 105. Okay. So now this name Naveen has the address 105, and this number 105 will be mapped in the stack array, in the stack memory. Okay. Yes. Now, what is mutable and immutable? Yes, of course, as the English dictionary, Collins Dictionary or Cambridge, whatever it is, states that mutable means changing and immutable means something that we cannot change. And as the word variable means it is changeable, something which has the capability to change is known as variable, right? So, as said, this name is a variable, so of course we'll be able to change this name. So I'm concatenating this name with something known as another word, let's say. So now what happens here is, now let me print. Let's see whether it has changed or not. Yes, it has changed. Now, what happens here in this memory? Will this be get changed? No, this doesn't get changed. Instead, what happens here is it searches whether there is already something called as Navin Shri is stored. No. If it's no, then again another object with the name Navin Shri gets stored here with a new address. as 106. And what happens here is this entire address gets changed to 106 here. And what happens to this 105 something here called as Naveen? What happens here is it becomes eligible for garbage collection. That is, since it will not be in use for some time, it itself gets go to garbage collection. In order to save some memory, it gets eliminated or destroyed there. Okay, so this is how the mutable strings work. Though they are reference variables, they get stored in the stacked memory, but the values will be there in the heap memory mapped with another address, and that address will be mapped here in the array. And if we change, it doesn't get changed in the heap memory, whereas it again creates another object, and that object address will be mapped here. Okay, so let's say I have another string s1, and I have something as Shri in capital. Let me also have something as Shri, the same word here. Okay. Now, since we have created two different variables, do you think that two different objects will be created for this word? Absolutely not. Since the strings are same, the creation of two different objects doesn't occur, though there are two different variables. Now let's see what happens. Since there is something a string s1 Shri is here, what happens is the value gets stored here in the heap memory, and of course address will be allotted to it, and of course the value s1 will be here mapped with the address 107. Again there's something called as s2 which is being created, right? What happens there is it checks, it comes and checks in the heap memory, is there anything called as Shri? It sees Naveen Shri. Yes, there is again something called a Shri. So it doesn't create another object, whereas what it does is it stores the variable s2 here in the memory and maps it with the same address. So this is what happens. Whereas, let's say, instead of capital Shri, I have small s. Okay, instead of capital S, I have small s. What happens here is it checks Naveen, Shri. There's something called a Shri, but it doesn't have small capital letter. It has the, it doesn't have small letter, whereas it has this capital letter. So capital is not equal to small case, right? And it creates another object for the small assigned with some address to it. And what happens? For S2, it gets mapped onto 108. And this is known as mutable strings, where they are capable of mutable, whereas in the back stage they doesn't really get mutable, they doesn't really get changed, they get just created new object for it. Okay, whereas in the concept of immutable strings we will be using a new class known as string buffer and string builder class. So both of these classes are same. They have only very minute differences between the string buffer class and string builder class. So I hope you understood what's the difference between the mutable strings and the immutable strings. Today we saw about the mutable string class, which is known as the string class. And the under immutable string class, we'll be having the string builder and string buffer class, about which we will be seeing in the upcoming videos. Okay? So thank you. Understanding the difference between mutable and immutable strings help you choose the right class for your specific use case, improving both performance and code maintainability. Thank you for joining me on day 29 of Let's Go to be a Java Programmer. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notified about our daily coding sessions. See you tomorrow for day 30. Happy coding!